5, state lawmakers are demanding action against an Avon daycare. They want the Attorney General to investigate BrightPath and revoke their license.
A former daycare worker at BrightPath is charged with sexually abusing several children. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, is live at the state capitol with today's latest developments. Susan.
Stephanie, this former daycare worker faces serious charges. He was arrested for sexually assaulting 5 young children. Now, the families of these young children have hired attorneys because they feel that BrightPath failed to stop this from happening. What police say took place at this Avon daycare is disturbing. At least 5 children say they were sexually assaulted by a former daycare worker. Carlos Barrios Otero is charged with molesting children between the ages of 3 and 5. The lawyer representing these families says complaints against Barrios were not taken seriously, and that video from cameras inside the daycare showing Barrios touching children was not monitored. Today, the Senate Minority Leader met with the families and is calling for a state investigation.
Clearly, the daycare center here knew or should have known what was going on and allowed this abuse to continue. They should not be operating any facilities in the state of Connecticut. We're also going to be calling upon the Office of Early Childhood to revoke the license of this organization.
Now, Senator Harding also wanted the Attorney General to get involved and investigate. We reached out to the Attorney General. He told us that the allegations are certainly troubling, but he says that this is not his jurisdiction. We also reached out to BrightPath. They tell us they are cooperating with law enforcement, and they say they're doing everything they can to help. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, why the federal government is involved. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, Channel 3, live at the state capitol.
We'll see you at 6.